the Irish guy, and doesn't the Ballon d'Or sort of just make you want to vomit on your foot? I mean, football is supposed to be a team sport. That's what everyone keeps telling me when I don't pass the ball. And yeah, you've got this elitist, snobbish night of vanity for the sport's multimillionaires, just so they can pat themselves on the back and kiss each other on the mouth. And let's be real, I mean, to be fair, for a solid 10 years, the Ballon d'Or just lost all meaning. It was a massive waste of time. I mean, imagine being a world-class defender and being invited to the Ballon d'Or in 2013. I mean, you just know you're just there to make up the numbers, just to drink wine, eat fish cakes, and watch either Ronaldo or Messi take home the prize. Ozzy, imagine being someone like Yaya Toure, being nominated for the 2015 awards. I mean, what's the point of getting his mother excited on the phone? Because deep down, he knows there was more chance of him deciding to get off with his grandma in a bid than there was for him to magically win the award. But now, the Ballon d'Or has opened up. But I have a massive problem with the Ballon d'Or award this year. So many problems, I don't even know where to start. I mean, let's be honest, not inviting Lionel Messi is a sham. There's a guy with 7 Ballon d'Ors, and you're just leaving it at home to what? Bake a cake with his wife? Watching My Little Pony with his son? I mean, how can a guy go from Ballon d'Or winner 1 year to then ranking lower in the pecking order than Darwin Núñez or Mike Magnan? I mean, lads, just because he didn't score 50 goals last season, I mean, people like to pretend that he's a PSG flop. Oh, Messi is washed! I mean, yeah, he probably is washed, because he probably starts every day sharing a swanky jacuzzi with his wife. I'd imagine he is very washed. I mean, especially compared to the rest of us. I mean, I have the same clump of mud behind my ear since Friday. I mean, it's hard to reach when you're having to get showered in the sink. But lads, Messi played just 26 games in the French league last season. Just 26? Still recorded 15 assists and scored 6 goals. I mean, he was directly responsible for 21 goals in 26 games. Oh yeah, and he did it 5 times in just 7 Champions League matches. I mean, he only played 1 international match for Argentina, sure. Still scored 5 goals. 5 goals in 1 single match. I mean, I would have had him on this list. I mean, to not get invited is an insult. I mean, lads, in the past, the likes of Philippe Coutinho, Mario Balotelli, and Nani have made the Ballon d'Or list. I mean, come on, Shinsuke Nakamura was once nominated for the Ballon d'Or one at Celtic. I mean, as he scored 8 goals in the Scottish Premiership. So don't you talk to me about Messi rotting in a farmers league. I mean, Henrik Larsson was playing for Celtic and finished 12th in 2003. And he was just playing the likes of Dundee and Hibernian every week. I mean, come on! Honestly, chuck Antonio Rudiger out of this list and put Messi in. Simple. I will touch on how Sadio Mane finishing second is a horrible joke. And I don't just mean some dead punchline you might hear at a Michael McIntyre concert. You know, just some boring family-friendly joke about kitchen towels. No, to me, being told that a 30-year-old Mane is the 2nd best footballer on planet Earth, to me, it's almost offensive to my ears. I mean, Liverpool let him go because he's ticking down the clock. But yeah, no, right now the world is drooling over Karim Benzema, who just won the Ballon d'Or despite officially still being on bail from prison. Ozzy, if this guy didn't have some of the most powerful lawyers in the sport, then right now he'd just be doing an hour of arts and crafts in some dull prison office, while trying to bite into a lunch that tastes like a mixture of airplane food and Lego. Oh yeah, I'm probably trying to trade chunks of his chest hair for cigarettes in the yard. I mean, lads, Benzema winning the Ballon d'Or. I mean, it's like in Prison Break Season 3 when T-Bag gets a swanky job at an office. I mean, he's hiding in plain sight. I'm guessing right now, seeing Adidas bring out a golden edition shirt with Benzema's name on the back just to celebrate him, I'm guessing that somewhere in a Greek village, Matthew Valbuena is probably angrily throwing a plate of shepherd's pie at the wall. I mean, I'm still not really sure what happened there. I didn't really read into all that. Did Benzema have photos of Valbuena kissing his mum? I don't know. But listen, let's forget about all that messy stuff for a minute. The truth is that Benzema deserves the Ballon d'Or. Sure. I mean, he scored back-to-back hat-tricks in the Champions League against PSG and Chelsea, and he netted 44 goals in 46 games for Madrid. He won both the Liga and the Champions League, but it just makes me think, how did he do it? I mean, is he drinking horse steroids for lunch? Does he wash down his Weetabix with a cup full of PEDs? I mean, don't forget, 4 seasons ago, in Cristiano Ronaldo's last season for Real Madrid, Benzema was scoring 5 league goals in nearly 40 matches. I mean, sure, he scored in the Champions League final after Loris Karius displayed the intelligence of that goofy mouse of Pinky and the Brain. But lads, I'm convinced, if Ronaldo hadn't dropped that bombshell that he was storming out of Spain, then that summer, Florentino Perez would have probably demanded that this French cart horse would have been upgraded. I mean, 5 goals. I mean, he was like the French Troy Deeney. I mean, lads, back then, Benzema was being offered deals at West Ham. At 30 years of age, he was being offered the chance to take orders from David Moyes. Considering the levels of ego crammed in his skull, I would imagine poor old Karim would have reacted to that as if you'd asked Justin Bieber to spend 3 hours a day milking pigs in the Wicklow Mountains. And weirdly, the Hammers then appointed Melo Pellegrini a few weeks later, the same guy who bought Benzema to Real Madrid. But again, no, I'm sorry, West Ham could be managed by Benzema's own gran. No, still, the only way he'd be setting foot in that stadium would be if you dragged him there in a coffin. Lad, don't underestimate just how Benzema's reputation was in the gutter 4 years ago. I mean, the Napoli president, Aurelio De Laurentiis, someone who was sniffing around a nearly 40-year-old Ronaldo this summer, let's not forget. Well, this is what he said in 2018.
We will not take Di Maria or Benzema. There is an agreement between Ancelotti and me to buy only young players. I cannot take 2 old ones with all the respect I have for them.
You know Napoli signed instead? Carlos Vinicius. Yeah, that chubby stick of candy floss sitting on Fulham's bench, rotting away like a pumpkin in July. I mean, Napoli didn't want old strikers, and yet still chose to play Dries Mertens every week until he was practically into his mid-50s. But listen, credit to Benzema. I mean, who knew that in 2009, Real Madrid were essentially buying 3 Ballon d'Or winners in one summer? But I'm guessing this must make Sir Alex Ferguson squeal and just sort of uncomfortably shift in his seat. So, I mean, to him, this news must make him visibly ill. I mean, he wanted Benzema before it was cool. I mean, he was trying to buy him from Lyon in 2008 and just had to settle for Michael Owen instead. I mean, another Ballon d'Or winner, sure, but I'm sorry, that version of Owen was like a modern-day equivalent of Danny Ings. And I'm not even saying that to be cruel. I actually think that's a kind comparison. I mean, that's me being nice. Because Owen was a washed up banana with the fitness of a pie filled with cement. But I mean, it sort of takes the gloss and prestige off the Ballon d'Or award when you remember that, oh yeah, Michael Owens won it. Yeah, I mean, it's been like someone bragging about winning the X Factor down the pub. Oh, cool. Didn't Jedward finish 4th?
Oh, I just won Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah. So did a dancing dog. So yeah, realizing that someone who won this thing and yet grew up to be just benched by Cameron Jerome at Stoke, yeah, that sort of takes the shine off the thing. Can we just erase Michael Owen's name off the golden plaque? But listen, transfers make careers. And can you imagine what the utter state of Benzema's legacy would have been if he wound up at Old Trafford? I mean, sure, he had 3 great years under Fergie, but I mean, his career would be done by 24, because then he'd just be signing up for a season of finishing 7th under David Moyes, and having to beg the likes of Ashley Young for a cross, and just relegated to the glory of Europa League finals, and trying his hardest not to punch Paul Pogba in the face. Oh lads, honestly, Benzema would be a Manchester United cult hero, yes, but his personal trophy cabinet would be so empty, it would probably be filled with more spiders than cups. There'd be more dust in there than the vegetables section in James Corden's fridge. But, I have a massive problem with the Ballon d'Or this year. Under the normal rules, where the ceremony is in January, and when you give the award for the full calendar year, then Benzema would not be winning this. I'm sorry, but why have you changed this? The Ballon d'Or is supposed to be going for a full calendar year. Suddenly they switched it, and it's just for the 21-22 season. So this is where things get messy. And not just because he wasn't invited. Lads, there is a World Cup in 2022. Don't you think you should have waited to see what happens at that tournament? Because I happen to think that France are going to typically crash and burn. I mean, if this was under normal rules, then lads, Robert Lewandowski would be winning this award. How many different ways can France football bend the rules to prevent this guy from lifting this thing before he dies? We all know he should have won it in 2020, only for the entire award show to collapse. And now, there hasn't been a better footballer in 2022. Lads, forget who won the Champions League. This is an individual award. I mean, I know the Premier League fans are all pretending like Erling Haaland has just broken the sport, but lads, I don't think I've heard anyone mention Robert Lewandowski's name once. I mean, he is 34 years old and should be a washed-up garden gnome. You know, just a Polish Ricky Lambert. No, he's left Germany after 12 years and already 14 goals in 13 games for Barcelona and 9 in 9 in La Liga. I mean, last season, he scored 50 goals for Bayern Munich. 50! In 2022, Benzema scored 34 goals. Great. Lewandowski scored 35. It's close, but maybe part of me is saying this because Lewandowski was absolutely robbed in 2020, but he deserves the Ballon d'Or. He's a goal-scoring freak. Lads, how could a guy score 632 goals in less than 900 career games and yet not win a Ballon d'Or once? I mean, he makes a former Ballon d'Or winner like Michael Owen look like a useless teapot made of cheese. Lads, Andrei Shevchenko won this thing. I am sorry, but Lewandowski makes his former Chelsea flop, by comparison, just look like some fat toaster. I mean, Lewandowski's not alone. Thierry Henry was also robbed of this award in 2004. I mean, he was hands down the best player on planet Earth and yet didn't even make the podium. But I have have other issues with the Ballon d'Or. People like to ask,
Oh, how many Ballon d'Ors will Mbappe win?
well, I can tell you now, he won't. He won't win one, for the same reason that Thierry Henry kept getting snubbed. Well, Mbappe is the modern day Henry, and lads, last night he was booed at the event. People don't like Kylian, which doesn't bode well for a popularity contest. I mean, it doesn't really matter about talent. I mean, for the same reason Luis Suarez never won a Ballon d'Or. Because he kept biting people. I mean, Neymar's never won a Ballon d'Or. The unlikable brats never win. I mean, lads, people seem to have made up their mind that Kylian Mbappe has the likability of Jeremy Lynch. And note how he was the only one of the F2 not to get an invite to the Sidemen charity match. For the same sort of reason. I'm guessing that's probably because the Sidemen would sooner drink soup out of their dad's belly button and have to talk to this man. Lads, in terms of pure numbers, nobody in Europe had a better season than Mbappe had at PSG last year. Lads, in 35 games, he scored 28 goals and chipped in with 19 assists. Nobody comes close to that. I realise it's in the French league, but to have him 6th, this guy should be on the podium at least. And yeah, I realise that right now I'm sounding like an angry mum, whining about how her son is only asked to play the role of a tree in the school Christmas play. Well, yeah, actually, maybe it's because your son has a face that looks like a tray of squashed lasagna. I mean, that's what my teachers used to tell my mum. But, I mean, the other two on the podium were Kevin De Bruyne and Sadio Mane. What? Lads, KDB has already got more Premier League assists by mid-October this season than he did for the entire of last. And Mane, it makes no sense. Last season, Mo Salah was voted Liverpool's player of the year. Are you really trying to tell me that Mane is the second best player in the world? Well, last season, he scored less goals than the 37-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo, who finished 20th in the charts. Yeah, I know he helped Senegal win the African Nations Cup, but let's be honest. Everyone will forget that Senegal were a hideously dull mess, with the attacking outlet of a teaspoon filled with the 230's piss. I mean, he scored a 97th minute penalty against Zimbabwe, drew blanks against Guinea and Malawi, scored 1 goal against Cape Verde, there were no goals against Equatorial Guinea, there was 1 goal against Burkina Faso, and then yeah, another blank in the final against Egypt, where don't forget, he missed a penalty in the final. I mean, he bottled it. And he also missed a penalty in the FA Cup final. Oh yeah, and was an anonymous snail in the Champions League final. That is 3 finals he went missing. I don't know, 2nd in the Ballon d'Or list when he scored 1 Premier League goal more than Jamie Vardy. I mean, lads, Vinicius Jr. did 22 goals and got 20 assists for the biggest club on planet Earth. Oh yeah, and scored the winning goal in the final of the Champions League. How is he not on the podium? Why is he 8th? In my eyes, the top 3 should have been, it's a toss-up, but Lewandowski first, Benzema second, and then third, purely Vinicius Jr. Yeah, I'm gonna say Vinicius Jr. And then I'd have Mbappe 4th. And finally, yeah, I'd have Mo Salah 5th. And then in 6th, I'd have Thibaut Courtois. But Sadio Mane, 2nd best in the world? No chance! No chance in the puppy's bare arse crack! Lads, being the 2nd best player in the world, it's not something you should say lightly. I mean, but lads, this has happened before. I mean, in 2005, apparently Frank Lampard was the 2nd best player on planet Earth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Zinedine Zidane would have looked at that and being told that he was an inferior player to a former chubby West Ham schoolboy. And yeah, to him, that was probably about as offensive as if he threw toilet paper at his mum. I mean, lads, back in 2005, there were 2 Englishmen on the podium. Can you imagine the media hype ahead of the World Cup? I mean, Gary Lineker must have been so excited, he probably did a wee in his car. But yeah, I mean, Deco finished 2nd in 2004. Again, no, that was someone who wasn't good enough to get picked by Brazil. And here he was finishing with Ronaldinho? No! I mean, it's like last year when the world tried to trick us all into thinking that Jorginho was the 3rd best player in the world. Again, another one not good enough for Brazil. And yeah, David Beckham once finished 2nd in 1999. Really? 2nd? Who voted for the Ballon d'Or that year? Just a bunch of teenage girls? I mean, did they just let anyone who attended a Spice Girls concert vote? But weirdly, lads, looking at all the list of the previous Ballon d'Ors, not enough respect is put on Kevin Keegan's name. Lads, he finished 2nd in 1977 and then won it twice in a row. So he was officially in the top 2 players on planet Earth 3 years running. Everyone just seems to talk about him as if he's some confused, naive ex-coach with the defensive tactics of a puddle of dog sick. But lads, he's got more Ballon d'Ors than Ronaldinho. Why does he get such little respect? There's not even a statue of him in this country. People just seem to think of him as some wacky clown. I know it didn't help that, yeah, he used to run a football circus. But still, why is there not more respect on his name? Why is he just blacklisted? The only reason I can think of why the hierarchy in this country might want to ignore this man is if his middle name was Carl with a K. And then yeah, okay, I can kind of understand why it might not be a good look to have a statue of this guy outside Buckingham Palace. But lads, 2 Ballon d'Ors. And yeah, do you think anyone on TikTok has a clue who he is? I mean, the new generation are just forgetting about Kevin Keegan. I mean, when you Google the name Keegan, the first search result is Mark Wright's wife. I mean, justice for King Kev. Let me know just what do you think, or let me know in the comments, or let me know what you think of the Ballon d'Or. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.